think it's a great time to look at growing your business with video. If you're not using video already, or if you are using video already, I'm going to be sharing some ideas on how you can get even more results from using video. Now, it's true to say, somebody said to me, I think it was Monday, I'm thinking it's Wednesday today, Monday, that online is the new offline, that video is the only game in town. And I think that's true. And I kind of like the line. I'm sure I'm going to use it somewhere in a blog post or something at some point. So thank you for the person who gave me that quote earlier on that line. I think it's a really cool one. So I'm Mike Blissett. I'm your coach, trainer, and I'm here with you today. This is live. It's a multi-live stream. It's my first multi-live stream. You'll see there's a watermark on the top right hand of the screen there. Restream. I almost got it. Restream. This is the service that I've been checking out this week, and so this live stream is going out to Twitter and my Facebook page, and also to, of course, YouTube. So wherever you are watching this, hopefully you're getting it through loud and clear, and I've clicked all the buttons and we're all plugged in, and that is great. Now let me just have a quick look. Yep, this is a sociable Q&A session as well. So if you're on whichever social media you're on, if you've got a question, please pop it in that comments box, whether you're on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, and if I can, I'll read it out here. And if I can't, if I haven't ticked a box this week, as I say, it's the first week I've been doing this, then I'm sure I'll figure it out for next time as well. But I've got a bunch of people that have emailed me questions in as well, because I sent out an email yesterday to my list, to my subscribers, and equally posted on social media and asked if anyone has a question and maybe they can't attend live, then I understand that. They could message me or email me with their questions, and I'll do my best to answer them in this session as well, once we've been through the main content. So so I'm here for questions if you've got any. And how cool is that? I think hopefully it's arriving on your Twitter feed or your Facebook or YouTube, wherever you are as well. So fingers crossed for that. I'll be able to check it later. And if we do miss out and it's not really connected, and I am just talking to myself, because technology does happen sometimes, then this is being recorded and I'll upload the recording afterwards as well. So you can watch it again, or you can check back on some questions or see if your question was answered as well. All right, so just before we get going, I did say, online, or one of my clients actually said, one of my coaching clients said that online is the new offline and that video is the only game in town. So if you're still not too sure, if you're feeling not so confident with using video and talking to camera, whether it's live like this or whether you're recording videos to develop products and programs and coaching programs, etc., for what you have in your business, if you're still not quite there yet, or if you're a little bit apprehensive or nervous, then that's okay. We've all been there. We've all done that as well. I've got a few of those T-shirts in my closet as well. You probably know I used to stammer really badly until my mid-20s. And so for me, confidence and feeling nervous and not being able to get my words out was a real thing for me. That's something I've had to work with through the years. So if you are feeling a little bit less than confident enough to produce the videos that you want to, or go live as much as you want to, and then I really do empathize, I understand. And for that reason, I have my final live webinar discussing just that. It's called Confidence to Camera. Now, if you were on my live stream last week was the first time that I started this series of live streams, then you'll have heard me say that the Confidence to Camera, which I did as a live 90-minute webinar last Thursday, would be the final one of a group of, I think it's 6 I've done. And just because I'm working on some new content and I want to introduce that. And so this week is going to be, it's the final one. And the reason I'm actually adding an extra one is because I haven't quite finished developing the content for the next training that I'm going to be offering in the weeks following that. So into March. So if you haven't yet watched the or taken part in the webinar Confidence to Camera, and you do want to give your confidence a bit of a boost, get some ideas of how you can by just really installing some frameworks, learning some frameworks to hang your content, your ideas, your messages on, then that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in this webinar on Thursday night. I'm not going to have you go out and hug a tree or meditate or do Om. Actually, there's a time and a place for all of that. That's great, but it's not going to be in that webinar on Thursday night. It's going to be about tangible things that you can do. So having a framework that helps you feel more confident, knowing that your content is logical, it's in order, it makes sense, and it will land for the other people as well. So you can, as soon as this live stream is finished, I'm going to be posting a clickable link on just underneath this video, so you can, and again, whichever platform you're on, so you can click it and then register for that live training tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And it's going to be via Zoom, so I need to send you a link to that webinar. So please follow that clickable link. I'll mention this at the end of this live stream so that you can register, get an email to say, here's your link. Look forward to seeing you on Thursday. And just to say, if you're thinking, well, does that mean you're going to be live on camera on Thursday? No, unfortunately, you're going to just watch me. And I'm going to take questions just like this. It's live as well, but equally, I'm not going to be embarrassing you or making you feel anxious in any way by having you on camera. So for this point, I'm just going to be sharing some frameworks, some structures, and so that if you want to begin that journey of designing your message, your program, your product, whether you're a coach or whatever you do, however you provide your expertise, then I'm going to be sharing those models with you so that you can begin the process. And if you want to then make your own videos and share content and be on my programs and we share screen, that's brilliant. As I say, tomorrow night, just relax. I'm just going to be sharing some ideas with you so that you can begin that journey. Wherever you are, if you're already making videos, you're going to get a ton of ideas how you can make even more videos and how you can structure those videos in a way that hopefully will reach more people as well. So it's going to be a good 90 minutes. So that's 7 p.m. London time, GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, tomorrow. That's Thursday, whatever it is, Thursday the 25th of February. And that will be the last one, because in March next week, I'm going to be starting with some new training that I've been working on. Not quite finished yet, which is why we're doing one final Confidence to Camera. So if you want to grab that, if you want to capture that, if you want to take that learning, that will be your last chance, certainly for the foreseeable future. I have no plans to repeat Confidence to Camera live anytime soon. Probably I might do it later in the year or maybe next year, but that's kind of it for this run. That will be the seventh time that I've done that there as well. So that's Confidence to Camera. That's out of the way. So just to re-emphasize, this is a live stream. We're on Twitter. I believe we're on Twitter. Hopefully, I'll check afterwards because it's the first time I've used this software, Restream. So we should be on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So wherever you're watching me on, if you've got a question, please just leave it in those comments boxes, and I will gladly do my best to answer them if they come in live. I've got a bunch of questions people sent me before we started. I sent out an email to my list and also on my social medias, Instagrams and all the rest of them yesterday, letting them know about this session, and just also mentioning that if anyone can't actually attend live and they maybe want to watch it as a catch-up, as a recording afterwards, and you'll be able to do that, then yeah, we'll do that as well. And then they'll be able to get their questions answered, because I'll go through the questions that people have emailed me and messaged me and personal message or private message or whatever you call it as well. All right, so in this call, at the top of the this live stream, I did say that I want to share, let me get the title right, 5 tips to grow your business with video in 2021. As my client said on Monday, online is the new offline. Video is the only game in town. And it kind of works for me in that it's just something that I've been interested in and building up and getting more involved in over the last probably 5 years. I've had my YouTube channel, I think, since probably something like 2008 or 9 or something, but it's very sporadic at that time. But over the last probably 4 or 5 years, it's been a bit like embedding that new habit of uploading and engaging with people on a more regular basis, whether it's weekly or sometimes twice weekly, or I've done some daily series as well. And it's been much more intentional rather than a kind of scattergun approach. So yeah, all I can say is that video has really helped and held my business together through this pandemic. And I know we're still going through it at the moment, depending where you are in the world, where this is still affecting our lives. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I've got my fingers crossed, we are coming out the other side, or at least you can see that light at the end of this. Sometimes it's felt like a very dark tunnel, and it will get better sometime, hopefully soon. I'm an optimist, but still, for the time being, video is the only game in town. If you want to engage with your clients, short of talking to them on the telephone, if you're in a lockdown situation, and I'm here in London, and I did my last live training event in the room with real people last March. And I remember having conversations with them at that time, just speculating if we're going to go into a lockdown. And then, of course, it happened. And then venues, even though it hasn't been locked down the whole time since last March, of course, venues and groups and meetings and large events have been cancelled the whole time through, whether it's been locked down or lifting those most severe restrictions. The one thing that hasn't come back, or one of the things that hasn't come back yet, is large gatherings. And for a trainer and for a coach, that means that online and video and equally telephone, and probably 5% of what I do is probably on the telephone, but the other 95% has been exclusively online, on video, on Zoom, on Teams, on a myriad of platforms as well. I'm guessing that's been the case for you as well. So video really is the only game in town. And I think that going forward, and I think I shared this in last week's live stream as well, I think going forward, as we come out of this and we move on or learn to live with, or we're vaccinated or whatever it is, however we move forward out of the situation, I think that this habit, this new muscle that we've kind of built up of being able to work online, working remotely, working with people in different parts of the world, whereas before we would have had to, get on a plane and fly to an event. Now we can do it remotely in front of our smartphone or webcam or camera or whatever it is, and just we can do it from literally the dining room table. And I made many videos over the last year, and I kind of half joke, but it's actually true, that I do most of my videos and coaching calls from the dining room table. I am actually making this video now, this live stream, from the dining room table. Maybe I should start a series or share I don't know, some more content about, or maybe title my YouTube channel From the Dining Room Table, because that has been the new norm. And I know from working with a lot of people over the last year as a coach and at various events and speaking and training, that that has been the case for them as well. So if that's the case for you, then I think video is massively important. And if you're not quite there yet, or if you'd like to feel a little bit more there, if you're already doing it to a degree, then hopefully these 5 tips will help you move forward with that. So these are the 5 tips to grow your business with video in 2021. And then after that, if there are any questions coming in, I'm not seeing any coming in on my chat box here on this dashboard on Restream. So it could be that you haven't put any in, or it could be that I'm actually not going live anywhere, or I haven't enabled the chat box because it's the first week I've done this. So if that's the case, apologies. I'll figure it out for the next time, and we will be able to communicate with each other as well. So before we get there, and hopefully we'll get some questions in. I've got email questions anyway, so we're going to go through those later. All right, so the 5 top tips to grow your business with video in 2021. Number 1 is to make regular content. And that's probably for 2 reasons. Number 1 is that the more you do it, the easier it will become, the more natural, the more confident. You will become doing it. It's straightforward. It's not rocket science, but I think when you're nervous, when you're not sure, if you're not sure whether people will engage, if you're not quite sure how it'll land, if you maybe will go off script or have a blank or whatever, guess what? All of that will happen. But the thing is, the more often you do it, and the more times that those kind of things happen, and they will, then eventually you will start to feel more comfortable, more confident with those situations. And Susan Jeffers said in her book many, many years ago, you will feel the fear and do it anyway. Because I promise you, the folks that, I don't know if you've seen on any video streams or Facebook posts or whatever, where people show their training or their video or the coaching setup in the home studio they created, and they've got like loads of screens, like massive screens, like 7 different screens, and slider controls and encoder boxes, whatever they are, and expensive cameras, and they just got the whole 9 yards, as I say. Like, incredible. That's brilliant for them. But that can also be intimidating for you. It's certainly, it's not necessarily intimidating for me because I've used that kind of stuff, but the reason I don't use it now is because I've got this kind of less is more mentality, at least after having, spoken and sung and been in showbiz and God knows what for so many years, that if you can work on the kind of bare minimum and just make it work the best way for you, thinking of what your show is, what your presentation, what your coaching is, what your video is going to be about, then it's more likely that you'll feel comfortable doing it. So just to kind of give you a real world example of this, I'm using my iPhone XS to make this live stream. And I've got it plugged in with a wire into my Mac, and it's so the iPhone is, as I say, it's a XS, so that means it's 3 years old. It's not the latest model. It's not even last year's model. It's 3 years old, and it's got a fantastic camera. So if you're on Samsung, if you're on whatever Android device or Apple device, if it's like reasonably within the last 5 years old, it's going to have an incredible camera on. That is enough to make videos, to record videos, to record courses, to do video coaching. It is enough. Can you spend thousands of pounds, dollars, euros, whatever it is, on more expensive cameras? Of course you can. And if that's interesting to you, brilliant. And I like toys as well. I call them boys' toys. And I buy them sometimes. But the thing is, to do this kind of work, you don't need all of that. And my lighting today is the sunshine in North London. I'm not sure how long it's going to last this afternoon, but it's great to see it. So that's my lighting, no expensive lighting. I do have some LED lighting, but I'm not using any now. And my microphone is on my laptop. I've got some other mics, and I use them for various situations. But for these video calls and for my online courses, this is what I use. So I think the most important thing with whatever you've got is that you do it regularly. That's really, really important. And the other side of the coin, I said there's 2 sides of the coin there, is that from the algorithm, from the web platforms that you use, whether it's YouTube or your website or Google or whatever it is, or Facebook, that you post your videos on, the more regularly that you do that, the more their algorithms, their programs that monitor automatically the content that everybody uploads, they'll start to recognize that you upload regular, good, informative, insightful, entertaining, whatever it is, content, and they will reward you for that, so that your videos will show up higher on the search suggestions, or in those side boxes where people, when they put in a search for something, some information, or an answer to something they're looking to solve. For example, I did some searching yesterday on how to use Restream, this multi-stream platform I'm using now, and I got so many results. And apart from the few ads where people had paid for that content at the top, all the other results, of course, were organic. In that the reason they showed up near the top of those, or at the top of those results, is because that person didn't just make that one video. They made videos on a regular basis, at a regular and consistent basis. So that is the reason why, the number one tip I can give you to grow your business with online video is to make regular content. It doesn't need to be daily. It doesn't need to be twice weekly or weekly or whatever, but whatever you choose, make it a regular occurrence for you. And my pretty much schedule at the moment is weekly, and it has been probably for about 3 or 4 years now. Probably going forward, I might start to, because I'm doing more of these live streams, or I plan to do more of these live streams now. I'm probably going to increase that to possibly 2, maybe 3. Let's see how this goes. But I'm just giving you an insight into how I'm looking at this. So I'm not looking at it what I'm going to do this week. I'm looking at it with a view to what I'm going to be doing regularly throughout 2021, because the algorithms, they need time to get comfortable and start recognizing what you are producing and that it's on a regular basis. That's the reason it's really, really important. So number one, you're going to feel more confident. And then equally, number two, from a techie point of view, those platforms will start to recognize it and reward you for it as well. So that's number one. Number two is to include live videos as well as the recorded content. From a viewer, from your viewer's point of view, it'll give them variety, and that's always a good thing to have. But equally, at least at the moment, the platforms that enable live content to be streamed reward people who go live regularly. Again, this point 1 and 2, there's tip 1 and 2 are connected, in that yes, you do need to be regular, but equally, if you go live regular on a regular basis, then the algorithms, the platforms will reward your channel, your page, your account for that, and your content will show up more often to more people on a regular basis at the top of their suggestions or their results if they're putting a search as well. So it's so important. So yeah, at the moment, maybe this will change because seasons change, and what platforms and the Facebooks and the YouTubes concentrate on changes from time to time, and that's just the way all platforms evolve. At the moment, they're rewarding live streaming a little bit more than, or some people say a lot more than, recorded content. So if you can have both, that's great. I still make both. There you go. Okay, top tip number three is to create a production schedule. Now, what I mean by that, just let me have a cup of tea. So what I mean by a production schedule is to have a workflow. So I'm guessing that if you're a coach, you probably got designated days or hours that you would be comfortable offering your coaching sessions in. It's a work schedule. It's probably fair to say that you've got a schedule of how often and when you might update your website or write a blog post or do some marketing or do your social media or whatever. It's probably not scattergun. It's not just on the spur of the moment when you feel like it, because if you don't feel like it, if you're not in that zone very often, it means that you kind of go radio silent to all your potential clients and your audience for most of the time. And then you have a burst of energy and then you're suddenly there. But because they don't know you're there, they miss it as well. So for the most part, if you're a coach, if you're running a business already, you already have a workflow. We do this in work. We do this in employment, and that we have that's why people talk about the jobs Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. What they're talking about there is they have a schedule. And the same if you are producing videos, whether they're live or whether they are recorded, it's good to have a schedule as well. So whether that is a time that each week that maybe you go live, and then equally a time before that you do some research and plan your content, and maybe let people know. As I say, I posted a few times on social media and sent it out to my email list this morning that I would be doing this live just now as well. So that's part of the schedule. So just think about what that is for you. And if you're recording content, if you're recording video, then again, are you going to record it on a Monday afternoon and actually book your diary out? Just the same as if a client wants to book your coaching appointment, you wouldn't just say, oh yeah, let's do it sometime. And because you probably would never work with that client and never do that session, never fulfill that session. They just find somebody else that does have a schedule. So equally, I'm sure when you have a coaching client, when somebody wants to coach with you, you book a time and a place in the diary, whether it's telephone or whether it's Zoom or Skype or Teams, or at times when we can do it face to face, it's scheduled, it's in the diary. You book yourself out. And with video, it's the same. Book yourself out. Make sure that you've got time to research, to brainstorm, possibly to practice. I did some practicing with this Restream software just yesterday, and equally this morning for a little while as well. And so just make sure that you've got that as well, so that you've got that production schedule. Tip number 4 is to collaborate and have guests on your channel, on your social media, on your lives, on your videos, whatever it is that you produce. You don't have to have them every week and all the time, but just now and again, it just kind of changes things up a little bit for your audience, for your viewers, and also for you as well. It keeps it fun, it keeps it exciting, it keeps that conversation lively and fun and exciting. And I think when people watch your video, they need to get a sense of that as well. You don't necessarily need to be telling jokes all the time, and unless you want to, but it's great that I think people can sense your energy. They can sense whether you're enjoying this or whether you're just going through the motions. And one way you can keep it energetic and fun and lively is by every once in a while just inviting somebody along to be a guest on your video, live or recorded as well. And if you look on my channel, on my YouTube channel, I've done this reasonably regularly, not every week, not every month, but 3 or 4 times a year. Done some interviews. I was going to call them some more like a co-production, but I think that's a stretch. I think they were just interviews. We had a chat basically, you can do them if you depending what situation you're in and where we are with the pandemic. You can do them face to face. I did one in the park with a wonderful lady called Pearl Jordan just over a year ago in Kew Gardens here in London. We sat on a park bench and put the camera on a little tripod and did the interview there. How cool is that? No multi angles and expensive blah blah blah. And we just again set up my phone and did that, and it was great. And then I did another interview with a brilliant author, a friend of mine called Mike Daligan, and he came to my home, and we sat on the sofa on the couch in the living room, and again set up the camera and did the interview there. Now, of course, you can do them remotely. You can do them via Zoom or Skype or whatever, and have 2 or even sometimes 3 or more people on the screen and do them that way. So it's still possible to do it, even if we're under lockdown. If you're still in wherever you are in the world or in the UK, and still you can't do that, and I certainly can't do that right now either. There are still ways you can do that and still have the interviews, still exchange the energy, and still keep it, kind of fun and energetic as well. So that's something just to think about. If you putting together a schedule for the next quarter, half year, whole year, 2021, how often would you want to invite guests? So how would you find the guests? How would you put your questions together? Would you let your guests know them in advance so that it's not scripted, but you're not kind of surprising them? It's a nice, flowing, easy conversation. Just think about that, because this all goes into point number 3, have a production schedule. So schedule in, think about who you want to interview, who you want to have a conversation or chat with, however you want to dress it up in your mind, and then reach out, ask the people. People love to be guests on shows, and just do that as well. I'm going to be including live interviews on this channel, on the live stream, as well as on the recorded content, certainly going forward as well. I think it's such a cool idea. It's so much fun, actually. I've done a little bit of it, and it is so much fun. I want to do some more of it as well. And I know that the feedback I get from people when they have watched interviews is that they just appreciate that it's a different dynamic, it's a different energy, and it's enjoyable to watch. So there you go. So the final tip is to repurpose multi-stream content. So just to say before I go into that, if you're enjoying this, whichever channel you're on, if you're on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, and remember, hit the like button, the thumbs up, share it, leave a comment, all the whole 9 yards as well. It would be great to really hear that you have enjoyed this content, that it's landed for you, that it's engaged with you, you found it useful. So leave comments, share, Subscribe, depending which channel you're on, and obviously like it as well. Hit that thumbs up, and we'll show some love, whatever it is that you do when you, whichever platform you're on as well. It would be super appreciated. So that tip number 5 is to repurpose and multi-stream your content. So that's kind of a bit of a double. It's almost like there's a tip 5 and 6 there, and I've kind of hyphened them together. So repurpose your content is that if you do lives and they are, for example, last week was, I think, 55 minutes long or something, it means that, you know, if you wanted to, you could repurpose that content. You could get somebody to maybe to type out the what's the word? The transcript of that live, and then you could edit it into blog posts, into top tips, into how-tos, into a PDF, into a report. You could edit the video, because you get the recorded video after you finished it as well. You could edit it into smaller chunks, into maybe 5 or 10 minute chunks, and send them out as a series on your website. When people sign up they could sign up for a mini series on whatever you just did your live on. And so there's many ways that you can repurpose your content. And in the program that, well, actually the webinar that I'm going to just mention again in a few moments, Confidence to Camera, tomorrow night, I mentioned a little bit more about that, how you can, instead of having to make loads of content all the time, unless you want to, the content you do make, you can repurpose and just, you can use it in many, many different ways. And it just makes it, it gives it the ability to reach more people, to connect with more people. And I think at the end of the day, as a coach, if you're making video, if you're engaging with people, that's what you want to happen. You want your ideas, your thoughts, your energy to land and be of service, to be useful for the other people as well. So if you can do that with repurposing your content, how cool is that? And then finally, the kind of 5.5 or 5B top tip is to multi-stream. Just try this out. Now, previously I've made videos and lives and stuff and shared them to individual channels, and that's great. But equally, if you could just speak once to your phone, to your webcam, to your camera, whatever it is you use, and it just goes out to whichever platforms you want, the same live stream. It just means that you reach more people at the same time, and it's just more fun. And really, again, coming back to, I think it was tip number 1, make regular content. From an algorithm point of view, the platforms reward you for this. They reward you for that regular content. So if you can do what might have been your Facebook Live, but now show it on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn or whatever it is, and you just need to do it once, then those other platforms are going to reward you too, not just the primary one that you're going out to, that you would ordinarily go out to. And that's the reason for that. So I'd encourage you to check out which multi-stream platform software might be most useful for you. I'm using Restream. I don't know really. I was going to say I don't know whether they whether it works with PC or it's just Mac. I'm on a Mac, but I know when I was looking at platforms last week and earlier this week, that there were just so many out there, and they're from free to really, really expensive as well. And you just got to find the one with the facilities, the ease of use that works for you, thinking what content you need to produce now. So you're not probably going to be a multinational company with thousands of employees that need to make hundreds of hours of content each week. You don't need a platform that can facilitate, that can enable you to do that. As a coach, you're probably working or have your own business as a sole trader, or how you run your business, and you just want to share your thoughts, your ideas, your expertise with people. So it's kind of whatever software platforms you might research. If you do want to restream your content, look at something that just will enable you to do that. And chances are it's going to be either free, or it's going to be one of the entry-level deals that they have, that you don't need too much to be able to restream to different content, to different platforms as well. Now, going forward in the weeks ahead, I'm going to be having some graphics on the screen. I'm planning some intro music and an intro video sequence and some jazz that can, well, maybe not jazz, but some stuff to make the lives a little bit more. I'm going to have fun with them anyway. As I say, for this one, I just wanted to make sure that I was going out to the various channels and I'll be able to check that afterwards. I can't see it now. I'm not sure what I haven't clicked on the screen, but hopefully you can see this and you're live with me now as well. So that is those are my 5 top tips to grow your business with video. So just very quickly recap. Number 1, make regular content. 2, include live videos as well as recorded content. 3, create a production schedule. Number 4, collaborate, have guests on your videos, on your channels. And number 5, repurpose and multi-stream your content. So that's kind of 5.5 going on there as well. So hopefully that's useful for you. If you have any questions, if you've got any comments, please leave them in your chat boxes, whichever platform you're on. That would be super great to hear from you. Either if it comes through live now, if I have clicked those boxes and set it up correctly, that would be great. And if I haven't, I will check back on them individually, the channels afterwards, and if I've had questions, I will answer them one by one there as well, and I will still get back to you, so you're still going to get your questions answered. And then next week when I do a live stream, I'll probably include those questions just so that you get a video reply as well, which is probably going to be a bit more expansive than a short reply on a Twitter feed or Facebook post or whatever. So I will include them in next week's video as well if I don't see them coming in today. I'm not sure. Do I need to click on anything? Yeah, so let's just see what happens there in a few moments. Okay, so moving into the questions that I do have, that I did actually manage to get from people in my social media requests over the last couple of days, and also the newsletter that went out to my folks this morning, and in no particular order. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so, right. So, and by the way, if you want to know my techie setup for reading questions from emails and stuff, I printed them up before, okay? Because as I say, I don't have multiple streams. I've just got screens. I've just got this one, my computer screen, and I'm using that for this broadcast. Now, if you are in the future, and if I set it up properly, you will be able to post on your Twitter feed, your Facebook, your YouTube, and it will appear on my screen. I can share it on the screen here as well. But for today, it looks like I probably haven't enabled that. But there you go. What can you do? So yeah, this is my super techie setup today. I printed up, thankfully, the questions I got sent before from personal messages and also from email as well. So just so I'm jumping into them. May asked, what tech do you use to make your videos? I think I probably mentioned some of it already, in that I'm using my iPhone XS, and I'm using I've got a MacBook, a MacBook Pro 13-inch 2015. Now, I mentioned earlier, I do like, kind of my boys' toys, a bit of tech, and I try not to spend too much money and get too much of it, because sometimes I bought things previously, and then even though they look shiny in the shop, I in the fullness of time never use them, and so I've had that experience as well. But something I am holding out for is the next version of the MacBook Pro, because they're moving from, I think, Intel processors. We're getting techie now. I told you I'm a little bit of a nerdy tech kind of thing, and but it's my subject. I like this, so I'm planning to move from the Intel Mac that I've got now, which is 2015 MacBook Pro, over to the next generation, whatever comes up next from Mac, because they're moving over to their own style of processors, silicon chips. They call it M1. I think the next version is probably going to be called M1X or M2. Depending what they haven't launched it yet, but hopefully midway through the year, in summertime or autumn, they'll do that. And that's when I plan to upgrade my computer, because I've had it about 5 years now. The reason for that is that as the video quality grows, and that means that people can watch better quality video on your YouTube channels, on your Facebook, and all the rest of it, so that the sizes of those files get larger as well. And so with older computers, with older processors, it just makes them work harder and harder and harder, to the point where they become eventually creaky and slow. And my Mac isn't quite there yet, but it does have its creaky moments, shall we say. So I'm holding out. It still works beautifully. I love my Mac, but equally I am waiting for the next one to come out, probably in the summer, and that's what I'll upgrade. So those are my two main pieces of gear that I use, made for my videos. It's on my iPhone, and I do my editing. If I do editing, I use Final Cut Pro. It's on a Mac, but there's programs like Camtasia, and there's so many other, from free to very expensive versions of editing software. So whether you're PC or Mac, just check them out as well. I do sometimes use a little mic, a lapel mic. I'm looking for it. I can't see it. I think it's in the box in the filing cabinet at the moment. But it's a Rode Lavier SmartLav Plus. It's a bit of a long name. If I remember, I'll put that in the show notes, in the comments just below this video when I finished it, so you can have a look at that as well. But it's a little mic, and it's small. But the thing is, it plugs into your phone, and it gives you near studio quality sound. Now, I used to be a singer. I used to be a professional singer many years ago, and whilst I'm not necessarily a trained studio engineer, I do know good sound when I hear it. And the Rode SmartLav mic is really good quality. It is near studio quality. Of course, it doesn't replace a £2,000, £5,000 top of the range mic in a recording studio in a soundproof booth. Of course, it doesn't replace that. But for somebody who's making webinars and live streams and videos at home, of course, it's pretty much one of the best quality mics you can get. There are others, and I can mention those in future times if you're interested, but hopefully that answers your question. So thanks, May. Great. Moving on to Mo. Okay, can I live stream on LinkedIn? Yes, you can. The reason I'm hesitating there, I'm going to play with my pen while I'm answering this question, is because you kind of set something off in my mind here, is that live streaming in LinkedIn is in beta stage. So what that means is they're still ironing it out. They're still introducing it. It's still in its kind of infancy stage. So you will see some people live streaming on LinkedIn, but the way you can get to live stream on LinkedIn is that you need to go through an application process, and they need to approve you as one of their beta users to try it out and give them feedback, and they'll check your analytics and see what worked and what didn't work. Because as I say, they're still kind of implementing the system so that it works as well as they want it to work on their platform on LinkedIn. So the reason I'm not including LinkedIn live stream in this video today is because I'm in the application process. Ordinarily, that it would take a few weeks, but because what did I say earlier? Online is the new offline, and video is the only game in town. I love those phrases. It also means that people applying for programs like this, there is just a huge backlog, and so that's what LinkedIn tell me. And so my application is taking its time. But when I hopefully do get the positive result from that and I'm approved, then I will be live streaming to more platforms. So I'll include LinkedIn as well as YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all the rest of them as well. So yeah, so yes, you can stream on LinkedIn. It's not as straightforward as streaming on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter for the moment, or Instagram for the moment, because it's in evolution on LinkedIn. I think it's all good stuff because it's a whole market of brilliant people there, and I just think the potential is great. So stick with it. If you're ready to start that application, just put a search in LinkedIn live stream application, and you will get a link to the application form that you need to fill out, and then you go into their processing and evaluating your application. So hopefully that works for you. And if you do if you do get approved before me, let me know. And I'd love to celebrate with you the live streams that you do on LinkedIn as well. So let's see. All right. Hopefully that's useful. Paul, I've got 3 more questions to go, and then I think we're gonna wrap up today. We've got a few people watching on them. I'm not sure which platforms. I can see we've got some people watching, so thank you if you're watching live. I appreciate you. This is a new multi-stream platform I'm using today, Restream, and I think I probably haven't set up so I can see which platforms are watching where. So if you're on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube, I appreciate you. Thank you. Next time I do a live stream, I'm sure I'll be able to figure out which platform you're on. And equally, I'm not seeing any questions. So if there are any questions, my apologies. I probably haven't ticked a box somewhere in the setup, which I will do for next time. That's going to be one of my Google searches this afternoon, how to set this up, because I thought I knew, and obviously I'm not getting any live questions. So I've got a message at the bottom of the screen. It says, can't post messages to some channels, learn more. And obviously I'm not going to click learn more because I'm not, I don't want to lose this live stream, but for next time, I will do a bit more research and I'm sure it will work fabulously well. So let's move on to the next question. Paul emailed me to say, how can I find the most popular subjects to talk about in my videos? Research. And research, for me, I don't know about for you, Paul, but research, when I say research, it kind of links back to school and college, and it conjures up things that are boring that you don't really want to do. But research can include watching your favorite YouTube channels and watching your favorite Facebook posts and videos and stuff, and that's all research too. And equally watching the news on TV and whatever inspires you to develop the content that you then bring to your videos. So that's all part of the research. And so I think that's probably it, because you, in business, there's this very, very famous saying that like attracts like, and that people usually work with people who are like them. In that, as a coach, you probably are coaching, if you're a coach, you're probably coaching with people who are to some degree on a similar journey to you. You might be a few steps ahead or have some more experience, and you're kind of sharing it back in the coaching that you do, but you're probably on a similar journey. And so the chances are that you're probably watching content on social media, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or whatever, Netflix, and it's probably something that resonates with you. Otherwise, why would you be watching it? And that should give you some ideas of what then you can develop in your voice, in your style for your videos. And then just again, I think with all business, not just video, but certainly in video as well. But when you develop a program, a product, a series of videos, then it's just to see how it lands, to see how it sits for your audience, to see if you get the likes, the views, if you get the buys, or whatever it is, depending whatever it is, whether it's a product, a program, an ebook, a course, or a video. And then just see how what you think is really your best work, if it lands for other people, is there. So you do have to listen to the audience as well. That's part of the research. But hopefully that's helpful. Thanks, Paul. A couple more. Vicky is asking, what camera and lighting do you use, Mike? I think I've probably answered that already. Just to go back again, it's today I'm using my iPhone. I'm looking at it like I don't know. I've had it for 3 years. It's the iPhone XS. So it's the 3-year-old, 3 versions ago iPhone. I did actually hear breaking news. I did actually hear yesterday because one of the channels I just mentioned to Paul about research and watching other people's channels that you kind of resonate with, you enjoy watching. And one of them that I like is by a YouTuber called Brian Tong. And he just makes videos, really fun, kind of energetic videos about everything Apple Macs. And so iPhones and tablets and gizmos and gadgets and laptops and all the rest of it, because that's all he talks about. And that's kind of my subject. I wish I could do that. But yeah, he's really good. He's really good. And he's got millions of viewers and subscribers and all the rest of them. And that's great. And just one thing he was mentioning in a video I watched yesterday. So this is a hot news, Vicky, if you're interested. And if you're not, I'm still going to let you know. Is that the whisper is that the next iPhone, the one that's coming out later on this year, so it could be the iPhone 12s or the iPhone 13, depending what name they go with, is probably going to have depth of field on video. So what the iPhone basically calls is it portrait mode in pictures, where you can make the background blurry, but it's not available when you shoot videos. In the next iPhone, the whisper is, and this probably will be a game changer, because this is what people spend money on very expensive cameras to do, to get that depth of field, that blurry background. And so, yeah, how cool would that be? So it's just, maybe for many people watching this live, it's probably, you're thinking, Mike, that's a silly thing. You should think of more serious things. And I agree with you. But for me, a blurry background with an iPhone, how cool is that? And you might be wondering, well, how am I doing it today on this one? So I am using, I told you my setup. So a little bit more Vicky and a couple of other people that mentioned about asking about the techie setup. So I'm using my iPhone. I've got it plugged into my laptop, and I'm using a software called, I think it's called, let me have a look. So hopefully I'm not going to lose this. It's called Camo Studio. And so if you go to the App Store, and I think it's only available on Apple products at the moment, Camo Studio. And it's a new, I don't even know what it's called, a video app that you can plug your phone into your computer, and the app sits on the computer. And so you can zoom in and zoom out and make the background blurry and all the rest of it. And then use that, plug it into Zoom or Skype or Restream that I'm using now, and make your backgrounds blurry. It does lots of other cool tricks as well, but basically that's what it does. So this blurry background is not from the software within my iPhone, because it doesn't have it yet, but hopefully the next iPhone will. This Camo Studio, I can't remember the full name of the company. You'll find it if you do a Google search. Two guys in New York at the beginning of this lockdown, this pandemic, wanted to buy a webcam, and they noticed that some entrepreneurs saw that corner in the market and bought up, pretty much all of the webcams, and then inflated the prices and then sold them back on Amazon and sites like that. And I remember I wanted to buy a webcam at the beginning of this pandemic, so a year ago. And I didn't have this app for my iPhone at the time. And the webcam I wanted was a Logitech, I can't remember, C920 or something, whatever that means. It means it sits on the top of your laptop, and it's a reasonable quality camera, whereas because my laptop is an old one, it doesn't have a great quality camera. So that's why I wanted to buy a webcam. And these webcams are usually around £85, about $90 US. And I looked, and this is last March, to buy one. So I need one now, because all of my training and coaching is on video. And they were suddenly $350, $400, exactly the same webcam. So obviously I didn't buy a webcam, because I just thought I can deal with my crummy 5-year-old webcam in my laptop until I can, until the prices come down, basically. But equally, these two guys in New York had the same experience, and so they were developers, and they went away and they thought, how can we develop a software that can do the job? So you can use your camera on your phone, because cameras have brilliant phones, and use them as webcams, just with a wire or wirelessly. And I use a wire for mine. So this is what they came up with, Camo Studio. And so how cool is that? So yeah, that's what I use. So a lot of answer for a short question, but hopefully you're still with me, and that was useful for you, Vicky. Thank you. Final question today. I'm looking, we are 54 minutes. So I think I'm trying to keep this under an hour, and let's just see going forward if I stick to that time frame, or if we make it shorter or longer. Well, I'll see I see how this lands for people as well. I'll look at the analytics. But yeah, final question today, Tan. What kind of videos should you start with? Tan says he's a new coach and at the beginning, but wants to use videos. I was just watching another one of the people I follow, their videos yesterday, and it was the what's happening in the market these days, what makes the most effective videos. And the consensus has been for several years that the videos need to be of value, so they need to be value driven. So that's why I think the #1 search term on Google and YouTube is owned by Google are the two words, how to. And then you put the question, how to find a webcam that works, how to multi-stream, how to whatever it is. So that's the #1 search term on Google and YouTube. And so for that reason, many coaches and many people that make videos for quite a few years now have been making how-to, top tips, all these kind of videos, of which this is kind of a little bit of that as well. But what this guy, I can't remember his name now, was saying in his video yesterday, and it really resonated with me, and that's why I'm going to share it with you, is that actually to just concentrate on that type of video would be a mistake, because people need to get to know a more three-dimensional aspect of you before they might want to work with you. And if you're a coach, it is about working with you on a program, on a one-on-one basis and group basis, or whatever it is, buying your course. And so then the question is, so how can they get to know you on a more three-dimensional basis? And so the other type of video that this I can see this guy now in his video, and I still can't remember his name, it might come to me, was to make videos where you share some of your story, or maybe a sense of your vulnerability. It doesn't mean you're going to cry in front of the camera, hopefully not, but just show a sense of your vulnerability. It can be your humor, it can be your sideways look at life. When I mentioned that, I'm not sure I've ticked all the boxes today on this setup dashboard here for Restream to get social media feeds, and I'm sharing a sense of my vulnerability there. I'm not crying, and I've got a big smile on my face, and you might think this is really funny, and I agree it is, but so this is part of that. This is part of that. So as well as sharing your value content, also include content that shares a little bit of your story. I mentioned earlier on, I used to stutter really badly. And sometimes when I'm making a video, I'll tell some stories around that. And whilst the actual memory of it is kind of sad, a lot of the stories that I share are kind of really, really funny at what happened because of it. And so, again, this is sharing a little bit of story and also a sense of your vulnerability as well. In that sometimes, I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream, if you're thinking of live streaming and making videos and you're apprehensive and you're worried it'll go wrong, just accept that it probably will, and you probably will have some blanks, and you will forget what to say, and you will forget to, I don't know, do something that you plan to do, and guess what? That's all right. Because by doing that regularly on a reasonably consistent basis, you're going to get more comfortable than you could ever imagine just turning up and doing that. And I've worked with people in the theatre for, I don't know, more than 30 years now. And all I can say is all the most famous actors, and I'm thinking stage actors here especially, that you think, God, they never forget the lines. I promise you, they always forget the lines. You maybe haven't been to that performance of that show when we had live performances of shows and were aware of it, or maybe you were at that performance, and because that actor has had the experience, they kind of forgiving and have an internal smile, that humor with themselves, they just make it up and carry on and join the two bits of script together with a bit of fluff or waffle or made up stuff. And from an audience's point of view, from your point of view, you probably never even noticed. So, and that's the point, that's the place you can get to by just being real and turning up and sharing your, as I say, your sense of vulnerability, your story, as well as your top tips and your how-tos, your value-driven video as well. So that is it for this time. I did mention right at the very beginning, if you are at that point where you are considering using video, or if maybe you make video already, but you're not feeling super confident, and sometimes your nerves kind of prevent you shining, or stepping into interview on that camera as you would like to, and really engaging with people, then if that's the situation, you feel that anxiety, that nervousness, and all the rest of it, I've got my final live 90-minute webinar, Confidence to Camera, coming up tomorrow night at 7 p.m. London time. So wherever you might be in the world, you just kind of do the time difference there. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It will be the last one. It should have been the last one next week, but the reason I'm doing one more tomorrow night is because I'm developing some new content and new training that hopefully it will be finished by the following week. So when March arrives next week, and then I'll continue with that for a little while until I develop something new as well. So, but if you're interested in Confidence to Camera and really learning some tools and ideas, some frameworks that you can hang your model, your story, your learning, your coaching, whatever it is you bring to your videos, if you want a framework to, you can hang that on so that it makes sense and it lands for other people and you feel more confident doing it, then the webinar tomorrow night, Confidence to Camera, is for you. So I think we've been through all the questions. I'm going to check all the feeds afterwards, the Twitters and the Facebooks and the YouTubes and all the rest of it, and just see if I can see what I didn't tick, why I didn't get the feeds coming through, the questions coming through today. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you're watching this on catch up, equally, if you enjoy this video, please give it a like. If you've got some questions and you're watching this on catch up on the recording, then yeah, still put a question below the video on whichever channel you're watching, on the platform you're watching on, and I will get back to you with a comment, and equally then let you know that I will include this in the next live stream as well. So you will get probably a more expansive detailed answer as well. It's been fun. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you could see me. I did my first one last week and nobody could see me because I didn't have the camera on. What can you do? So hopefully you can see me and hear me at the same time this week. And next week, hopefully I'll be able to see your comments too. So until then, take care. I wish you well, stay safe, and yeah, speak soon. Take care.